All right, so did a ton of cutting, got some PVC mock-up links. They're not really perfect size, just I gotta adjust the pinion angle still. The pinion angle needs to come down a little bit forward. But yeah, I mean, this is a rough estimate of where full bump's going to be. So as you can see, basically, the top of the axle is about level with the floor. So the frame is, I don't know, I didn't measure, but the frame, stock frame is about 4 or so inches tall. So it's about 4 inches higher at full bump than the top of the frame rails, I guess, or than the bottom of the frame rails. And then stock bumps are like, what, 3 inches below the bottom of the frame rails? So I'm guessing about 7 inches or so more up travel than a stock vehicle. So I'm shooting for about 12 inches of up travel. Estimated total travel, I'm guessing, I haven't really played with the numbers too much, but somewhere around 24 inches plus or minus. So as you can see, I've been doing a bit of cutting today. I didn't want to cut this part out right now because I don't have my stock or the fuel cell I'm using. So I'm kind of estimating this line as the front of the fuel cell. That way I can measure the clearance, make sure I have clearance here. I'm not going to be using this axle. This is a 4 9-inch axle that I built about a year ago. It's basically ready to go. It's all plumbed. It's got the brackets. I have the brakes. I have the third member. Excuse me. Just getting over being sick for a week. But I have this all ready to go. But it's semi-float. It is 35 spline, but it's semi-float. And I really want to go 40 spline just because I'm taking this to a little bit higher level than I initially was in the total build. So I think full float's just gonna be better. I'm gonna go full float 40 spline just because I don't want to deal with problems. I want to be able to do Baja trips and not have to stress about a broken axle, bent housing, break an axle on this, you lose it. With the full float, chances are I'm not gonna break an axle shaft, but if I did, I could still go home because I'll have a spool. So you can see, obviously stock floor, had to clearance this. I'm just cutting where I need to for now. I'll probably end up cutting all this out and starting fresh. And what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna have tubes go along this, because it's really easy to build plates, flat plates, when you have triangles because there's 3 points, right? It's easy to lay a flat plate. So I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna do some sort of one is it'll stiffen the chassis side to side. So I'm gonna do a triangle to the cross member that's gonna go over here. But that way I could also do a nice flat plate, and then I could do this one. It'll be a triangle here too, because there's gonna be, tubes. So another flat plate, and that way it'll be a sealed cab, at least from here. I'm gonna probably do a rear firewall behind the kid seats. That way it's completely sealed from the fuel cell. I don't want the fuel cell being inside the cab. I want that completely separate. So if there's a fire back there, I will have a fire suppression system. But I don't care about my gear back there. I care about my kids and myself. So that's the more important stuff. Oh, and I also care about her. She's over here like waving at me. But yeah, that's where we're at here. Gives me a rough estimate on travel. Still got to now figure out, because of the triangulation, I got to figure out exactly how I'm gonna bring the frame up from here. I'll probably end up just doing a tube here and then triangulating it and stuff like that. So the full cage is gonna tie it all in, so I'm not too worried about the frame, but I just gotta make sure it clears here. So, and then you can see here, I don't know, oh, maybe you can, yeah. As I was cutting with the plasma, I forgot that the links were right here, and I almost burnt through it. Luckily they're PVC and they're cheap. I marked kind of where the tire is going to be, so you can see, you probably can't see, but you can see those dots. That's basically where the tire is going to be, right there. So, and then that's just where the tire is going to be at full bump, roughly. So I got to cut even more, because a little bit of flex, the tire comes up. So I'm going to be going almost into the damn window, which is crazy. But up travel is where you need to be in order to have really good suspension and balance, because the ass end needs to be able to let the front end stay on top, so the ass end just suck it up. So kind of sounds weird if you don't put it into perspective of off-roading.